The air, heavy and wet, clung like a fog of steam. It was pitch black, and from time to time the first wave of the arriving monsoon roared across the ship like a furnace blast. The corpse lay in its pajamas. Beside it sat a fine, antique, double-cased pocket watch, ornately crafted, bearing a durable enameled crest on the back. The same crest appeared on his signet ring and cigarette case. The body rested naturally, its face calm, only slightly yellow, blending almost seamlessly with the straw-colored English mustache. Had he really died from the opium? Jimmy opened the wardrobe and pulled out a jacket, then retrieved the medals from a small chest. Outside, the wind picked up. A dull noise came from the adjacent bathroom. Jimmy looked up.
What the nerves? Me?
The cabin lamp creaked on its chain. Stiffening rigor mortis made dressing Mr. Gould difficult. In the lull between gusts, the ticking of the pocket watch was loud and clear. Then, a crash. Jimmy leapt into the hallway. Nothing. The corridor was empty. Fog crept in, softening the light. Shadows moved soundlessly on the darkened deck. He reminded himself, the wind stirs everything. The sea roared below. A sudden downpour slapped against his face. There, in the shadows near the corner, someone moving. No, just the tarp of a lifeboat loosened by the wind. And there, on the floor, was the rifle. The gust had knocked it over. Jimmy returned to the cabin, resumed dressing the dead man. He hesitated over the pants. Then he remembered. Nobles often wore checkered riding breeches with black formal jackets. Good thing he'd seen a thing or two in life. The rain came crashing down like a machine gun. Clatter. The wind slammed shut the round ventilation hatch. Jimmy looked up, startled. And in that moment, the dead man's head slipped sideways. His body followed with a heavy thud, crashing to the floor in a grotesque position, face down, limbs folded under, like someone caught mid-crawl and frozen in place.
Damn it.
Now Fulig Jimmy wasn't one to spook easily. But this gave him pause. He stepped closer, intending to lift the late Mr. Gould back onto the bed. As he did, the man's pajama top slid up to the neck, and Jimmy recoiled.
Holy hell. What the?
On the dead man's back, just below the left shoulder blade, a large, dark button protruded from the skin. Yes, a button. Jimmy stared. He touched it. And in that instant, he understood everything. Mr. Gould had been murdered. By him. Unknowingly. With the opium. Because only someone deeply asleep could be killed like this. Stabbed through the back with a needle. Like the kind older ladies used to pin hats into their buns. The hat pin's head had been pressed to the wound to stop the bleeding, and the victim laid on his back so no blood would spill. The pin hadn't pierced the chest from the front, but it had gone straight into the heart. Instant death. A burst of rain drummed across the cabin row like a war march. Murder. He should report it. Go straight to the captain. That's what a law-abiding citizen would do. But then, there'd be an investigation. And who's the most suspicious guy on board? The one sailing under a fake name with forged documents? That'd be Jimmy. And if the steward opened his mouth, even just the bit about drugging passengers with opium, well, that's a solid 10 years right there. Number let the murdering scoundrel go free. Jimmy had his own skeletons, and they were rattling loudly. He wasn't exactly someone who could stroll around in broad daylight, waving at justice. Time to move. Now! If only the wind didn't moan like that. It blew papers from the table, rattled the glass. Jimmy pulled the pin from the body. No blood. Just a tiny red mark remained. He quickly finished dressing the corpse. A sudden wave tilted the ship. The body rolled, knocking Jimmy's legs out from under him. They tumbled together into the corner. He barely managed to shove the heavy, rigid corpse off himself. Footsteps. Someone was walking past the cabin. Clang. The figure kicked the fallen rifle. Jimmy stood, panting, glanced in the mirror. He looked pale.
Hell, didn't know hysteria was a thing.
The rain only deepened the heat, pressing the humidity lower. From the hallway, creaks and faint cracks. He jumped to the door and peeked out. A torrent of rain splashed into his face. The wind tore the handle from his grip. The door burst open, sending papers swirling toward the porthole, ripping the tablecloth away, and knocking things to the floor with a crash. He pulled the door shut behind him and stepped outside. It was dark. The wind howled. A shadow flickered in the light spilling from Mr. Irving's cabin. Someone was standing there. Within seconds, Jimmy was drenched. He rushed down the fog-filled corridor, the wind slamming him against the walls. He knocked on Irving's door.
Who is it?
Jose.
Come in.
Mr. Irving was sitting at his desk, brewing tea and reading.
Your Highness, I have reason to ask you to lock your door tonight.
Oh, please. Another joke? Like the epidemic?
Exactly. But this joke already has a body count. It deserves to be taken seriously.
Would you care to be more specific?
I'm afraid I can't. But if you trust me, lock the door. And if anyone knocks, hold a pistol before opening.
I don't have a pistol.
Here,
He placed a hefty automatic revolver on the table.
just push this lever with your thumb and you can shoot immediately. Keep the door locked.
Mr. Irving grabbed the pistol with gleaming eyes, like a child finally getting his hands on something long coveted, reserved only for grown-ups. He stepped out of the cabin. Jimmy heard the key turn in the lock from the other side. He rushed back. From afar, he could see Mr. Gould's cabin door standing wide open, a broad beam of light spilling across the deck. Now, out of the dead man's cabin steps the captain. He closes the door behind him. For the blink of an eye, the light catches his raincoat as he pulls the high collar tight at the front to keep the wind from slapping his face with rain. The visor of his cap flashes one last time in the cabin's glow. Then he marches off, brisk and purposeful. Surely he'd come to check on Jimmy. Jimmy hurries after him. At the corner, the captain vanishes into the dark. Jimmy doesn't follow. He heads straight toward the deck instead. But a second later, he freezes. There, on the bridge, the captain is standing, pipe in hand, completely still, coat collar clutched shut against the wind. But he just saw him walk away, in the opposite direction. The ghost, the one the steward talked about. The killer. Jimmy rushed back. On the slippery deck, he tripped twice, tumbled over a coiled rope, slammed his knee, but didn't care. The rising wind howled in his face, creaking, groaning. There! He spotted the ghost again. A lamp's hazy halo glinted on the captain's cap visor. He couldn't see the face. The coat collar was pulled high. If only he had his revolver. He ran straight into the wind, after the figure. He reaches the corner, and something slams into his face. A heavy plank crashes down, knocking him flat into the puddles pooled across the deck. He lies there, dazed. For long moments, he can't move. When he finally staggers to his feet, the wind nearly topples him again. His nose is bleeding, warm, steady. No choice now. He stumbles back into Mr. Gould's cabin to finish dressing the body. The ghost got away. No matter. Just hurry.
Wait, there he is again.
There. He sees the ghost again, down the first-class corridor just now, stepping out of the dead man's cabin. Coat collar clutched high over his face, cap visor flashing in the light. He walks straight ahead. Calm. Unhurried. Jimmy gives chase. He's closing in, raises the short iron rod in his hand. The ghost turns. Jimmy barely stops the blow in time. Standing before him is the captain, the real one. He's not hiding behind his coat anymore. His soaked, sharp-featured face is fully visible, and he's staring straight at Jimmy, bleeding, breathless, frozen in place.
You left your post.
Jimmy couldn't speak. He was out of breath.
Where were you? What happened? Who beat you up? Answer me.
Captain, I saw a man in your coat. He was walking the deck.
What nonsense.
You were on the bridge, yet someone, just like you, was walking here. I chased him. He hit me. The steward saw him too.
The captain looked off into the darkness, beyond the railing, into the storm-drenched, stinking blackness of the Indian night. Then he pulled his hand from his coat pocket. A pistol. Lately, he kept it there.
Listen, my friend. Regulations say that anyone who causes panic on board must be shot immediately, and I'm very thorough when it comes to following procedures. Let the steward know that too. Still, wrap the body in a sheet, place a piece of coal by his feet, tie him to a board, and then call me. Afraid. Despite the telegram from Singapore, we'll dump him at sea. In this tense atmosphere, I can't take responsibility for letting the passengers know there's a dead man on board.
He left. His steps splashed across the puddled deck, slowly fading. To be continued.